The following is a Tony Lasano podcast, an Opie show on the Radio Misfits Podcast Network. This is Free Kicks. So, as we record this show today, it is Halloween in Chicago, which can only mean one thing, Adam. What does it mean?
It means the kids are ready to run around and enjoy trick-or-treating and get lots of candy.
And it means it's snowing.
Of course it does.
Because every year, at trick-or-treat, every Halloween in Chicago, it snows. And as we record this morning, I'm looking out my window, and there's snow on the ground. And it's not even November. Welcome to Chicago.
I know. We're going to have to dust off the car. I'm going to have to get my duster.
Well, is that what we call those? You call them dusters?
Whatever. I don't know what you call them. What do you call them?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know either. I've never known what to call them. Snow brush, I think.
Snow brush. Okay. Yeah, there you go.
All right. Well, it's time to do a show, and we call this show Free Kicks.
And now, Free Kicks. Free Kicks with Illinois Youth Soccer Association's Director of Coaching, Adam Howarth, and Rick Kemper.
So not only is it Halloween in Chicago, but throughout the rest of the world, it's the day that the Ballon d'Or winners are announced. And I don't have a drum roll for you, but if you wouldn't mind telling everybody, I'm sure by the time this comes out, everyone will know. But these are some pretty shocking names. The one for the men's Ballon d'Or, we'll start there.
Yeah, so it actually took place yesterday. And so everything's going on. Yesterday was Monday, so they announced all of the winners. And on the men's side, this was a shocker.
I'm sitting down.
Lionel Messi,
what?
Or as I call him, Lionel Messi.
Yeah.
For him winning the World Cup and also taking Inter Miami to a whole new stratosphere, being the worst team in the league and getting them to a couple of cup finals, which was pretty impressive. He scored like 11 goals in 14 games, I think is what it was.
Yeah.
It's pretty
He's got his own TV series here in America.
Got his own TV. I just watched the Beckham Netflix thing, by the way. It's pretty decent.
Yeah.
And he is the winner, Ballon d'Or. Now, he just beat out, and I thought, if I'm Erling Haaland, I'm pretty upset because I thought he had a really good chance of getting it. But I think his time will come. I mean, he scored 35 goals, I think it was, in 36 games. So that's a pretty good, actually 36 goals in 35 games, which is pretty darn good.
Yeah.
And 52 goals. And obviously Manchester City won everything. They won the Premier League, the Champions League.
What else does the man have to do?
I mean, exactly. And
yeah.
They did win the Club of the Year, the Team of the Year. So that was good. Vinicius was kind of given an award for his, that they call it the Socrates Award, for his contribution of off the field things, because obviously he was dealing with all kinds of issues with racial abuse and how he's kind of talking about that, which is great. Man City won the Club of the Year. Martinez from Aston Villa, he was the goalkeeper of the year, even though he did a goofy thing at the end, but that's okay. And then I think a future Ballon d'Or winner was the Young Player of the Year. So they give a special award to under 21 players, and that was Jude Bellingham from England.
Oh, yeah.
He's
tearing it up.
Absolutely tearing it up. So, that was really good. And then, obviously, don't forget about the women. So, on the women's side, so they had their winners as well. And I was I wasn't surprised that she won it, especially because Spain won the final. But Tatiana Bonmati, who was the left back in the World Cup final, scored the winning goal in the World Cup final. That probably will get you pretty well. Yeah. And was certainly the best player. She was the top player, won the Ballon d'Or for women's soccer. And then Sam Kerr of Chelsea in Australia, who scored that great goal as well in the semi-final. She was second. And then there was England had another goalkeeper who was in the top 5. She was pretty good. A couple of other Spanish players were also in the top 10. But, so exciting exciting time for all of those players to receive their awards, and eight times the winner for Lionel Messi.
Well, as far as the women go, it does show you the rest of the world has caught up to us.
Yes.
Right. But
yes,
that's good though. It's good. You want it to be a competitive thing, and now that all these countries are playing and the women are getting to play in all the countries, that's culturally a significant development.
Well, exactly, and I think the biggest thing is we didn't even have a player in the top 10 for the females.
Amazing.
So that's alarm bells right there.
Yeah.
Come on. We got to pick this up, and I know we will. But that's something that we're going to need to address, get a new manager in and get all that squared away. So,
as the director of coaching for the state of Illinois, maybe you should start churning out some champs.
Did you ever think of that? We will definitely do that. It's our responsibility. We will make sure we do that. Not a problem.
We'll talk about that a little more later in the show, but right now it's time to find out what's happening on the pitch.
Premier League football. What's happening on the pitch?
And I watched quite a few games this weekend. I mean, there weren't as many on Saturday as there normally are, which always depresses me because I need to be flipping back and forth. But I did watch the Manchester Derby on Sunday, and that's really no longer a competitive game, is it?
It was really Manchester City just scoring when they want to score. It was embarrassingly easy for them in a game which is now turned into Man City. How many are Man City going to beat Man United by?
Yeah.
And that was probably the toughest thing, I'm sure, for Man United fans to watch. I mean, I think everybody understands Man United is not as good as Manchester City.
Right.
But
they used to show up for this game, though. This used to be the game. And actually, in fairness, about a decade ago or a little more, it was the other way around.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. They were called the noisy neighbours by Sir Alex Ferguson. He would always joke about, nothing to worry about. Well, really, in the last 200 games, in terms of all of Guardiola's games that he's been coaching, I think you can say that since he's been there, Manchester City are no longer the noisy neighbours. They are the strongest neighbours and the best neighbours by far. So, I mean, it's just really disappointing. And I think Manchester United are going to have to really look at where they go from here, what they're going to do, because of, especially when you look at the lineup.
I know.
And this is my concern. And again, they've got lots of injuries. But I think it may even go back to the manager. I think obviously, ultimately, it's always going to be up to the manager. The manager's going to be the first to go.
Yeah.
But here's my thing, Rick. I think I see a connection. He's got too many Ajax players on his team.
Yeah, maybe.
And I'm serious. And I don't know if you follow Dutch soccer. Do you know where Ajax is right now?
No.
Bottom of the table.
What?
They are, yes. Absolutely shocking.
Wow.
They are bottom of the Dutch league. Couldn't believe it. There was a big story about it. And I was shocked when I saw it. I mean, we went there.
Yeah.
We visited there. You and I were there.
Yeah.
And maybe there's a little bit of a note there that you can say. But some of the players he's brought in, obviously Onana was a former goalkeeper of his at Ajax before he went to Inter Milan. Anthony and Martinez, all of these players. Now, Martinez is not even getting into this tech team. He's obviously going with Maguire and Evans.
Yeah.
There's a lot of question marks. Evans is older. That's not to say they're not good enough players, but I think most people are saying their back four, that's their second string back four that they're playing.
Yeah, I think Martinez is hurt.
Yes.
But you're right. I mean, whenever I see Harry Maguire in there, I'm like, uh-oh. Yeah, no offense.
And again, that's not to take anything away from what he has done for England and certainly for Manchester United and Leicester before him and everything else, because he's obviously a very good player. It's just, I think the way that Manchester United wants to play doesn't suit him.
Right.
And so I think that's part of the issue. You know, sitting at Leicester, he was great because he just would sit back and balls over the top was never really too much of an issue. But if
he's a traditional old sweeper.
Exactly. Almost a centre back.
Yeah.
And he's you know, he'll make mistakes just like anybody, but he's going to have a hard time against a front four of Haaland, Foden, Alvarez, and Grealish. You know, they're just running rings around him, and so that's the biggest thing. So going back to Ten Hag, I think he's definitely if there's a manager who's feeling the pressure, it has to be him.
Yeah,
because he's brought players in, they did well, but they have to figure it out.
He's in the Champions League, which he got them into last year, which is something they hadn't been in a few years. So you can't take that away from him from last year. Last year was not this year, though. They're in 8th place. They have a goal differential of -5. And most importantly, they are brutal to watch. They are just boring.
Yeah.
And that's got to be hard for Manchester United fans to take.
I totally agree. And I think, you know, we're not sure what everybody talks about a plan. In coaching education, we always talk to our coaches about have a plan. What are you going to do? How are you going to coach? How are you going to do this? I'm not sure if Ten Hag has a plan.
Yeah,
and that's what's really concerning. That's what's really concerning to all the Manchester United fans. What's going to happen next?
Naming Fernandes as the captain seems like a weird move. I know he's a great player, but his disposition is very uncaptain-like. Let's put it that way.
Totally agree. And I don't know, when he has some, you know, emotionally, I'm not sure if he can keep it all together. That's not what you need in a captain. And then Anthony, when he came on, oh my goodness, that guy was like a man possessed. He just went out and started fouling people.
I know. It's like, dude, don't you realize you've got like domestic abuse accusations against you?
I think there was a lot of anger and then frustration there that was built up that came out. I mean, him and Doku, the young Manchester City player, I mean, he just was like whacking him. Yeah. Just like, what are you doing, dude?
Well, they do. Honestly, they look like they're out of control when they're losing at the end of the game. I've seen this happen several times already.
Yes.
So yes, all right. So Ten Hag's head is on a pike right now,
definitely.
He's definitely in trouble, but he's not the only manager. Right. In the Premier League that is in trouble. I was reading ESPN.com. They just graded, after 10 games, they graded all the Premier League teams and the managers. And the lowest grade was given to Pochettino at Chelsea. They gave him an F. Now,
I don't know about that.
There have been some rumblings out of you. I've heard it. If he loses to his old club Tottenham, is he in trouble? Chelsea changes managers like I change socks.
Yeah. It's I don't know. I was really frustrated with the game against Brentford. I mean, it was the classic counter-punch game, right? So Chelsea dominated the game. Lots of chances. I personally see some improvement in terms of them at least before they weren't even creating chances. They were struggling to create those. Now they're creating chances. They're not finishing the chances.
Right.
They certainly have a lot of possession. They're missing. They're missing players in terms of strikers, and they're being rash. I mean, I don't know why they couldn't have. Within their $1 billion that they spent, they couldn't have found a striker, because I'm not sure if Nicholas Jackson is going to do it. And Nakunu is obviously missing with an injury.
Right.
All of these players, there's lots of things. Reece James is coming back. So I think they're going to be okay.
Yeah.
But it's going to be a big game for them against Spurs. Obviously, it's a massive game for just Pochettino's himself. I think Chelsea will be fired up for it.
Yeah.
I think it'll be a good game.
I
just
agree
like
with
Arsenal. Yeah.
Well, they have,
but I wouldn't give him an F. I think that's a little harsh. I certainly a C, maybe C minus. But again, he's got a brand new team, bunch of new players. They've been playing well in fits and starts. There's things that are moving somewhat forward. They're still in the cups. They haven't been knocked out of the FA Cup yet because they haven't played. So that's good. So they're still in all the cups. And I think a couple of things. It might be similar to what Ten Hag did last year, with Manchester United. If they can move them forward, move them up, they got a chance.
Yeah. Well, they did win 3 in a row before this week, so you don't want to panic too much over one game.
Exactly. And it was like I said, classic Brentford are not a great team, and they'll be the first to admit it in terms of how they play. They're just sitting on the counter, and they took care of business on those counterattacks and scored a couple of goals. The second goal, if I don't even count it. I mean, the goal. Did you see the second goal?
Yeah, I did. I did.
It's like, oh my gosh. Yeah. It's like the worst thing that happened. And Sanchez, the same thing. Again.
Yeah, if you didn't see it, the goalie went up to try to get the head ball to tie the game. He didn't get it. The Brentford took it the rest of the way and just kicked it into the open goal.
Yeah. What do they call that in hockey? An open net?
It's an open netter. Yeah.
Yeah. Gosh.
All right. So, we're 10 games in. This is usually the time when rash management starts hacking people left and right. Is there anybody else in the Premier League who should be looking over their shoulder at this point?
I think, and I think you mentioned it in our pre-meeting notes, has to be the Sheffield United manager, Paul Heckingbottom. I mean, he is in serious trouble. If you watch the game, they did not look good.
Yeah, 5-0 to Arsenal, and it wasn't that close. I don't think it got onto the Arsenal side of the field. It was like one of those games. It was like when I was coaching my son's team at the beginning of his career. It was like, hey guys, let's try to get it on their side of the field.
Yeah. I mean, I saw the statistic. This tells you everything. They've lost 9 of their 10 games.
Yep.
And they have a goal difference of minus 22. That's the
10 games.
Worst in 10 games. That's the worst start by any side in a Premier League season. Yeah. So I'm thinking if they don't win their next game,
he's a goner.
And he's a goner. I think Chris Wilder, the former manager, is one of the favorites potentially to come in and replace him, which would be interesting.
Yeah.
But I think he's definitely in a lot of trouble, and they're hopefully going to try and get some type of a result this weekend, but it doesn't look great. They've got a tough game again. Well, we've got a game that could potentially win at home against Wolves, but Wolves are, I think, playing really well, even though I predicted them to go down. So,
well, the other big game at the bottom of the table was Bournemouth and Burnley, and I did watch some of that game. Burnley, I just keep expecting them to be better. They have a good coach. Mm-hmm. They seem to be a cohesive unit. They play well at times, and yet they always seem to be losing games. They lost to Bournemouth in a game that I thought Burnley outplayed Bournemouth. And what are you going to do? It's a 6-pointer, basically. Yeah.
I think they're not quite there. They're not necessarily at the standard that needs to be. I think talking with my good friend who's a Burnley fan, one of my former college players, he just basically says, and I think he's probably, it's a different team each week. They're trying to find out who their best players are. They haven't figured it out yet. They're trying lots of different players in different positions, and that seems to be the biggest issue. They just can't figure out who should be playing where and when. So that's been the biggest issue for them. They just can't figure out the lineup. And they're young as well. They've got some young players in there too.
Okay. Well, it's something to keep an eye on. I don't think Vincent Kompany's in any danger of getting fired, do you?
No, I don't think so. Yeah. I think everybody knew that it was going to be, if they stay up, that's going to be a major accomplishment.
Right.
That's for sure.
All right, let's talk about the Champions League, because that's been going on in the background here over the last couple of weeks, and we haven't checked in how the English teams are doing. Maybe you're like me. Liverpool's not in it this year, so I'm not quite as interested as I normally am, and Chelsea's not in it, and you're not as interested as you normally are.
Exactly right. Yeah, I don't even watch it. It's
but
just worthless.
City and Arsenal are leading their groups.
Yeah.
But Manchester United and Newcastle are struggling.
Yeah.
Your thoughts?
Yeah, it's interesting. I think you watched I don't know. You watched the Newcastle game as well? Did you watch that Newcastle? Yeah, I did too. It was pouring down with rain. Felt bad. I thought they played pretty well. It was a little bit unlucky to come out with a loss there at home against Borussia Dortmund.
Yeah.
But that's. I mean, did you see that group?
Yeah.
You got PSG, Borussia Dortmund, Newcastle, and AC Milan. I mean,
that's brutal.
That's an absolutely terrible group for Newcastle. To be fair to Newcastle, they're holding up. The biggest issue for Newcastle is that they've got more games away than they have at home coming up.
Yeah.
So that's going to hurt them. So it's tight-ish, but if they would have got a result against Borussia Dortmund, that would have been huge. That's for sure. I think Man City are cruising. No problems there. And then Barcelona actually are off to a decent start too. They've got 3 wins as well in their group, but again, not a terribly tough group with
and
some
Madrid
of the teams they've got.
Madrid
and Real Madrid, yeah. So Real Madrid, they've got 7. I think they have 7 points, 9 points. They got 3 wins, too. Yeah, and Arsenal's up there. So I think this traditionally, I think you're going to find the same teams going through. Bayern Munich's top. I mean, they're in the same group as Manchester United. The problem with Manchester United, they lost 2 games.
Right.
And so they've got to figure out a way to at least get a result in this next one. So we'll find out.
Well, I watched the AC Milan versus PSG game because my son he's now a huge AC Milan fan. He watches all of their games. And they do have Christian Pulisic and Musa from the American national team. Yeah. And I got to say, they did not look very good. But then again, they're playing PSG, which is a world powerhouse, and Mbappe. There is no one in the world that can cover that man, and I think he's doing even better this year without the other stars there.
Yeah, he is so good. They did this analysis. I don't know if, and I love watching Thierry Henry when they do some different things concerning how they play. But because Thierry Henry is the under-21 French manager.
Oh,
and he was talking about one of the players that they have. His name is Zaire Emery. He's only 17, plays for PSG, but he's playing centre mid for him, and he is really, really good. But what Thierry Henry did, he broke him down. The fact that he basically plays off Mbappe. Wherever Mbappe goes, he moves out of his space. So it was amazing. Yeah. So if anybody's out there and types in a little clip that Thierry Henry breaks down what Zaire Emery does and how he helps create space for Mbappe, and then when Mbappe's there, nobody can. Even Thierry Henry said this: you can't stop him.
No,
he is that good. When he's 1-on-1, you're done.
Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely done.
When he's around the box and he's got the ball, every player on the other team is praying.
Yeah.
that he just kicks it over or somehow misses it because he's getting his shot off. People don't block his shots. I don't know how he does it. He has some sort of a superpower. I mean, first of all, he's ridiculously fast. He can't be covered, but he also has this ability, even when he's stopped, to have just enough space to get a shot off. And I don't know how he does that. I've been watching him for a couple of years now. It's pretty impressive.
Yeah. His movement makes him such a great player. Yeah. It's not just necessarily the skills that he has, which is obviously unbelievable, but he just finds space where nobody else can find it. So he's like a Messi in a lot of ways. Mm-hmm.
All right, Free Kicks is brought to you by the Illinois Youth Soccer Association.
Illinois Youth Soccer has been proudly serving the Illinois soccer community since 1975 and has a strong history of credibility. Illinois Youth Soccer is a non-profit corporation, official state association, administers U.S. Soccer Federation coaching programs, the Olympic Development Program, and referee programs. For more information, go to illinoisyouthsoccer.org.
And I think there might be some more news coming out of your office.
And now, the latest Chicago area soccer news. Soccer news. With Coach Adam.
What else is happening?
Yeah, lots of things happening. Exciting times as we kind of come to the end of the fall season or the start of the winter.
Yeah.
As I look outside.
The snow is a surefire sign.
Yeah, but it's supposed to warm up a little bit this weekend, which is great because we're hosting our State Cup championships up in Rockford. We've got 5 games. This is all of the girls' teams, 15U through 19U. So wish all the teams the best of luck. So we'll definitely have a bit of a wrap-up next week with those teams.
Okay.
And then along with that, we'll have we also have our Olympic Development Program. Registration closes this week. So if people are interested in being part of that program where there's the opportunity to go to the regional level, to then potentially make a national ODP team, which we had over 20 players do this past year, which was fantastic. So hopefully, that might be you. It might be your son, maybe
I'm
your
60.
daughter. Yeah, it could be you. Yeah, you're still eligible.
I've got a broken arm.
So it could be, it could be anybody out there. So if you're interested, certainly contact us, and we'll make sure that we get you all signed up, ready to go. And so lots of things, coaching education, got a bunch of new courses. We'll be sending out a big, huge blurb here this week, but excited to be hosting a couple more C licenses in 2024. Our B license is already on a wait list, so we have that many people already signed up. And then our club leadership technical course, which is the DOC course, we're going to be hosting a couple more of those next year too. So all that information's going to be on our website. Look out for some mailings very soon, but lots of things happening.
Great. That sounds exciting. It's time for your favorite part of the show.
Time now to guess the Premier League star.
All right. So this one, you might want to put quotes around star.
Oh, great. Here we go.
But, as someone who has encyclopedic knowledge of the Premier League like yourself, this should not be a problem. All right?
All right.
Might be for some of our listeners. I'm warning you. See if you can beat Adam on this one. It's going to be a tough one. Although, excuse me, he's 30 years old. So he's a player that's been around. All right. And he plays for a top 10 team that's in the top 10 currently as we record this on Halloween. Okay. He is a defender, which is why, maybe you don't know him. But defenders are people too. He plays for his national team.
Okay.
But that team is not England.
But he was born in England?
Yes.
Rick, you're going to have to start thinking about going in a different direction. If you keep on picking on players that beat Chelsea, it's not going to work out for you. So I'm going to blast this out. His name is Mr. Ethan Pinnock, and he is not even close to being a star.
Well, he did score a winning goal in a Premier League game this past weekend.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, he did.
Wow. You've cracked my code.
Yeah. Well, interestingly enough, the funny thing is, so he played for a club team when he was younger in his youth career that I used to play against on a regular basis. The name of his club team was called Glebe. Sounds kind of strange, right? I used to play for a club called the Magpies, and we used to play glebe in our league. Yeah, it's basically because because, and this obviously makes a lot of sense, my team was so good that we had to move out of the suburbs into London to play some London area teams.
Sure,
so,
yeah.
Because we were winning way too much. We like to challenge ourselves. So, but yeah, I played against his very first youth club team, and
wow,
yeah.
Well, I chose him not only because he scored the winning goal.
Yeah, I know.
That's the main reason. But I also chose him because I wanted to mention his other teams that he played for, which are Barnsley, Forest Green Rovers, and this is my favorite one, Dulwich Hamlet.
Yes. Yeah, Dulwich Hamlet, yeah.
Yes. Well, there you go. Well, so congratulations to you. You've cracked my code. I may have to find a new way to do that feature.
Yes, expand it so it's not players who score against Chelsea. That's just basically how you need to
It's
look
still
at
a big enough pool. It's still a big
Yeah, all right, okay. Fair enough.
It's time for my favorite part of the show.
Now time for Adam's Weekend Soccer TV Tip.
So, I haven't checked the schedule yet. What kind of games do we have coming up this weekend?
Yeah, we got some good ones. It's a little bit of a very heavy Saturday schedule, which is great for you. Early games. Now, remember...
So you were just sitting there waiting for this one.
I knew it.
Because I barely got 3 clues out, and you already were.
I knew it was coming.
You probably had it written on a piece of paper somewhere.
Yeah, I had both of the goal scorers in there. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
No, you're fine. So remember, the other interesting thing is, so my daughter is actually in London right now visiting my mum, and they had to put the clocks.
Oh, right.
They messed around with the clocks. So that's going to affect the Saturday games, which is absolutely brilliant for your sleep habits, because that means they kick off an hour later. So instead of the 6:30 game, we now have a 7:30 game.
But only on Saturday. On Sunday.
Only on Saturday. Sunday it's back to normal. Right? But the game's at 8 o'clock. Can you get up for that?
I think I can do that. Yeah.
Okay, good. Just checking. So, but yeah, so Saturday, a little bit later. So typically we have the 9 o'clock kickoffs. They're going to be 10 o'clock kickoffs. But the game to watch is actually going to be a little later too. 12:30. I think it's going to be a really good from St James's Park. That's my Newcastle accent.
Yeah.
Newcastle versus Arsenal. I think it's going to be a really good match on Saturday. Definitely worth watching. That's probably going to be on NBC, but that's not my pick of the week because it has to be Monday. Okay, they used to call it 3 Points Lane because Chelsea would always win there. And now they're at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. It's going to be the current leaders of the Premiership, Tottenham Hotspurs,
versus the 11th. Ranked team.
Against the up-and-comers, also known as Chelsea FC. So that's going to be on Peacock. So make sure you've got all your alliances set up, ready to go. That's a Monday game. So that's the Monday game. So people get out of work early, head to the pubs, watch it on your iPads, whatever you need to do. That's going to be a big one. Okay. Especially in my office because we've got a Spurs fan in there who I don't talk to. I don't really talk to him much anyway.
Wow, I've never met one of those in real life.
Yeah, I know. There's not many of them.
Yeah.
There really isn't. Yeah. Kind of...
Well, that's fantastic.
I've actually met more now. They're top of the league. Oh, you're a Spurs fan.
Oh, yeah. Always been. Always been a big fan.
Of course you are. Just like, Oh, you did. But you was Man City last year.
Yeah,
okay, I thought of I keep forgetting. So, yeah. But should be a good one. So, Saturday, Newcastle, Arsenal. Big one Monday, Spurs, Chelsea.
By the way, I've watched a couple of Newcastle games now that took place in Newcastle. Looks like the weather's just beautiful there.
Yeah. We are actually, so you're like this, our ODP teams are looking at going to Scotland and we're going to spend a day in Newcastle. I hope it doesn't. It looks like that's going to be awful. I mean, it was just absolutely teeming down with rain in that game.
Yeah.
It's just terrible.
Never seen rain quite like that. All right. Free Kicks is brought to you by Green White Soccer Club. And actually, as this will drop on Friday night, I'll be attending the Illinois Soccer Hall of Fame banquet. We have 2 Green White players that are being inducted this year. Joe Filion, who played for the New York Cosmos, but started his career with Green White. And also Marcus Luxgang, who played at Indiana, was the Herman Award winner several times, and was on my team as up until like age 12, and played with my brother. But he is also getting into the Soccer Hall of Fame in Illinois. So congrats to those two guys, and congrats to the Green White Soccer Club. Go to greenwhitesoccer.org to find out more about the club. We have some people to thank. We need to thank our executive producer, Tony Lasano, with Opie Shows. Tony has produced now nearly 200 shows for this. We've got some special things planned. We're getting close to our 200th episode. We also need to thank our Ed Silla, who is the distributor of the show, of Radio Misfits. Great Talk Radio isn't dead. It just moved to another place, and that's RadioMisfits.com. And we'll be back again next week with a brand new episode of Free Kicks.
The preceding was a presentation of Opie Productions. Find our other great shows wherever you find podcasts, including opishows.com. Thank you.
This has been a presentation of Opie Productions.
Tony, can you shut up?